Hello and welcome to the Dinks, the Kinks, and the... Wait, what? Wrong podcast.
Wrong episode. Wrong podcast.
Wrong podcast.
Let's try this again.
No, I'm keeping it. It's the first podcast of the new year, and we're coming in crazy. We're excited. We're here. It's the Dinks with Kinks Fetish Podcast, 2021. I'm your host, John Undera.
Positive.
Never positive. Okay. Always negative. Because I'm safe. Practice safe sex. With me tonight is Miss Rebecca.
Hello.
And Mr. Shep.
Good evening.
And tonight, listen, we had to have a really...
new introduction line. I like it.
I know, right? Always
Yay.
practice. Always
I like
practice
bringing
safety.
up the rear.
Before we get into this, remember, now we have an Instagram and a Twitter. So if you're listening to this and you want to see pictures from this episode and content that we post, stuff like that, follow us at Dinks with Kinks. No H in there. Just Dinks with Kinks on both Twitter and Instagram. Wit. Because we're witty.
Wonder, how instant is Instagram?
It's actually pretty fast. I mean, I have already been flagged for inappropriate content like that. We're at 3 now.
Nice.
So we've had kind of a messy start to this episode, which is all right because tonight.
Why?
You think I messed that up on purpose? No, I got messy with the intro just to bring it to this. Tonight we're talking about sploshing, or better known as wet and messy. Now, Rebecca, this is something you have been waiting since before this was a podcast.
I know. I have been. I'm so excited.
Yet you hate being you hate being sticky.
I do. But it's not always about being sticky.
It's just not fun.
It's not about that. But
don't
I
like
can
being
tell you
sticky
why
either,
I
but
enjoy it so
as
much.
a learner, it's just about being sticky.
Why it makes me so happy.
It's about was that a sneeze or a giggle?
It was a combination.
My Discord.
That was a sneasel. That was a sniggle.
Sniggle.
My
Discord
giggled.
I know.
I'm sorry. The way her face froze that last time.
I will say this.
I don't even know. Even know. Y'all freeze. And for some reason, my Discord is acting up. It's just my Discord.
It's 2020. That's what it happens. And the best part about this being an audio podcast, of course, I'm going to leave this in because we had the sniggle, which has been my favorite thing that's happened in 2020 is hearing Shep sniggle, which is a new
I'm
phrase.
sitting here going, oh
Which
no.
actually, I'm not sneezing or anything. It was just me trying to stifle my giggle. I'm like, no.
It sounded like you
But
sneezed,
I couldn't.
but you were giggling, and it was just like, I've never heard a
No,
sniggle.
I was trying to say, oh, yeah, I was just sneezing. But no, I just
Trying to be
I lost
all
my
played
shit.
off.
I lost my shit completely.
This is such a messy episode.
You're welcome.
guys.
Captured
there
that
you
picture
go.
that she was, because, God.
Oh, I did. I have it. And
Oh, do you really?
Please. God, yes.
Fantastic.
I'll post that on
Well, now
our,
you know
follow us
how
on
to just break
Instagram.
me.
Oh, no, I can't. Dang. I forgot. But because we have all the info around it, and I'm not editing all that crap.
Yeah. Okay.
Never mind. I'll draw a picture of it. I'll put a drawing of that face
Oh, okay.
on there.
A mosaic.
We're talking about sploshing, getting wet and messy.
Yes.
This is a very tactile kink, and I have thoroughly researched it. I mean, I have sat on so much cake, it's not even funny. Don't judge me, but I later ate that cake because, I mean, come on, it's cake, but still.
So you skipped the pie and went straight deep into the cakes, huh?
Oh yeah, you got it. Well, that's the thing. It's not just about food. It's about any type of substance, liquid substance, something messy. From custard to slime to mud to
Paint.
slime, paint, food.
No.
I mean, you name it. Now, there are a couple exceptions, and I'm going to name these exceptions so you don't picture it in your head. Of course, you're going to picture it as soon as I say it, but it do not include bodily fluids. that is not categorized under wet and messy. Now, you may enjoy both, but technically speaking, this is all about substances that are not from the human body. So you can't be like, oh, I love wet and messy. I love bukkake.
No,
Doesn't count.
If nothing else, we are very technical here. So yes.
Well, I mean, because those are their own fetishes. Those are separate. Like, you know, I'm into wet and messy and also like to be peed on. Not personally, but if that was my thing, I would have two separate fetishes, not mixed. So, and just going into this is a very tactile fetish. It is a very a fetish that develops like feeling stuff. Same with like clothing. Like some people get off by feeling certain items of clothing,
like latex.
Sensation play in a way.
Sensation play, 100%. Yes. And the other half of it is just the visual of it. Just seeing somebody, because some people are like, I don't like to get messy, but I get off seeing other people get messy.
I feel like for me, because before we had technical difficulties and the snickle, I don't like to be sticky. I don't. It drives me nuts. But I think the visual part of it is very beautiful to me. Like honey and all of that looks beautiful on somebody else. Don't put it on me. But I mean, it looks beautiful.
No honey dipping, huh?
No.
No, I don't like to be sticky either, because you want ants. That's how you get ants. So
you are a sploshing vorist then.
Yes.
Does it? Yeah, you are someone who enjoys watching, and a lot of this, it develops when you're very young. Like, this is one of those fetishes that develop when you're like 3 or 4. Like, a lot of fetishes develop in your teens when you're coming into your sexual age, but the actual seeds of this fetish are usually implanted in your brain between the ages of 3 and 4. Very early in development, and you can usually tell those kids. The kids who like to play in the dirt and the mud, and they're like, oh, I like making messes. And kind of what it deals from is either they really like that, and then when puberty hits, you know, wires get crossed, and it continues over into their sexual adolescence. And that's just kind of how it connects to there. Or they're really turned on by the taboo of it. If you have like kids who are heavily punished for being messy, you know, like, oh, you're grounded forever, and they like that they're not supposed to be doing what they're doing, and that really excites them. So there's two really different ways to get into this, like develop this kink, and I like that. I like that when there's like different paths to the same place. Mm-hmm. So, yeah. And I'm not the only person who did research this week, so, you know, I know Rebecca has been like Googling this since day one. Her Pornhub history is just nothing but splashing.
She went way beyond Googling. She went to Oogling and Googling.
Oogling and Googling.
Well, so, thorough research.
What did you find?
Well, it also doesn't have to be like... I found the one that was like that wasn't sweet. Like, everybody thinks about sweet foods, but they don't think about not like, people use oysters. And I found out like cake sitting was like its own thing. Actually, it's its own subcategory. It started out as not being, and then it just developed very quickly into its own category. That I didn't know. I was like,
because it's high popularity in the Asian
is it like the crushing fetish
sense?
Because that may be where our things. Oh, I read
it falls into wet and messy. It's just its own subset. And but they warned, speaking of safety, don't just go sitting on a cake thinking that's all everything. Make sure you clean thoroughly.
You don't want to find a week-old cake in your vajayjay.
No.
But yeah, no. When I read it, was directly linked to the crush fetish, was sitting on cakes and whatnot. But again, two different paths lead to the same place. It's very crossover, and I love
my first experience not like personal experience, but my first introduction into sploshing, I was not something sweet. I remember watching, like, you remember before internet, when you got your kink information from HBO and Real Sex and all of that, they did a segment on that, and they dumped an entire can of baked beans on this girl. And I remember being very horrified for a minute. I was like, what are they doing? And then they were just having so much fun. I was like, oh, that looks fun. Like, that looks like that was my, it wasn't anything like honey or chocolate. It was baked beans. That's what I thoroughly, like, in my brain. That's what I remember.
Listen, when someone yells food fight in the cafeteria and you pop wood,
yeah, there's that too.
You might want to start rethinking your kinks. But no, yeah, it's one of the things I've seen it mixed with, like, beans, full coverage. I've seen with foot fetishes, people putting their feet into shoes filled with like various foods or liquid and all that, and it's squishing out. And so, you can name that part of the body and they're real into it. Pie fights. I mean, you want to talk about media developed fetishes, older people with that fetish. I mean, you had your vaudeville, your pie fights, every clown throwing pies at people. Probably a lot of people with wet, messy fetishes, the older ones, also have clown fetishes. Coincidence? Maybe not. But our generation, like, I think, like, the and newer generations coming out, I'm going to call them out right now, and I'm going to use their name, Nickelodeon. Straight up. You can't say that on television. If you say that phrase, I don't know, you're covered in green slime. And Double Dare, you're waiting and just getting covered in goop and gack and all kinds of slime.
Yes.
So that is 100% could be a very media-driven fetish. Like, that's where you can see it from. Of course, you probably already knew you had that kink well before that because, like I said, it's a very tactile fetish.
Hey, Rebecca.
Yes.
Do you ever watch Bob's Burgers?
No, actually.
I love it.
I mean, I know what it is, but I don't watch it.
Because
Are you talking about?
I was thinking that, she said the source of her sploshing was the beans over the girl, but I was thinking, I bet for her it was when Bob's son took the bath in
Bean bath.
baked beans.
Christmas
Did it
episode
for her.
when they go see Bob's dad, Grandpa
I'm
Bob.
betting that was it for Rebecca, indeed.
Yeah.
Actually,
and Gene took a bean bath.
that's what I knew was a fetish. It's actually the feel of, like, paint, finger painting. I really like the feel of finger paint, that type of smooth, so almost like slime, I guess, like, but
Yeah.
that smooth, sort of thick type feel.
Like I said earlier, the tactile feel.
Yeah,
Sticky.
that one. I don't like being sticky, but like that feel,
I am no stranger to slime in my household. I have a child whose favorite toy is slime. She gets every time she goes out, and she just plays with it constantly. And I'm like, you could see the fundamentals building of the two different people because I have two kids, and one's like, if you touch me with filth, I will murder your face. And the other one's like, you're going to dump dirt on my head? Yes, please. I've already done that to myself. So, and, I'm not necessarily, my kids are going to have these kinks, but you can see that's when that developmental stage starts to really, those wheels start to turn. And that fascinates me. Stuff like that, like the biochemical reactions in your head, how your wires touch. And something as simple as that, like tactile things, develop. In fact, they actually have people who are have trouble since filling stuff. They're like usually sometimes autistic, and they have trouble feeling sensations. This is therapy. They use they don't use this fetish, but they use stuff like that to help treat that. I found that while researching it, like a lot of the stuff can develop there because it's used as a form of therapy, so it makes them feel safe. because it's been used as therapy for a very long time to help people feel stuff, because it usually liquids, when you feel on your skin, you feel them so much better than just if I'm touching a table. I'm very sensitive to feeling wet, but if I'm wet but not wet, like touching like something like slime or paint, it's a very solid, like, you know, it's very what's the word I'm looking for, tactile. No. Huh?
I don't know.
Yeah, but they can feel it, and so they get the sensation of both being wet and, you know, but they can feel an object. So I think that's where a lot of it builds. A lot of people with these fetishes may have that tactile like connection, like they can't sense stuff as well. I'm the complete opposite. I have hypersensitivity, not hyper. I feel everything. I could tell you how many hairs are in my beard right now. So.
Oh my.
Yeah. But that's, you know, when I was reading stuff for like as therapy goes, and they say that may contribute to a lot of that development into the fetish, is they can't feel feel as well, and the wetness in a lot of that stuff makes it more intense. So when you think of intense and feeling, it's not a long jump to sexual gratification, because if you're doing it right, it's very intense.
I like that very much, like tickling. It's very broad. You can like it's not taboo when you're like, oh, I'm going to use whipped cream tonight, or I'm going to use chocolate, or it's not, it's so you can do it without being all wild and crazy, or you can go all the way to the baked beans and oysters, like the wide variety. I think it's also.
Oh, absolutely. It's not, you know, and people wouldn't even consider that being wild and kinky if I was like, hey, let me eat food off your body.
Right.
If I want to pour hot chocolate on you and lick it off, no one goes, oh, it must be a fetish.
I know. Yeah.
But suddenly I want to cover you in a bucket of chocolate. And it's fetish.
Yeah.
But they're the same thing. 100% the same thing. And that's okay. That's great.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, no, I like that. And I like that it could be one of those things where it's very flirtatious. A food fight leading to sex.
Yes. I like that it's fun. Like there are some fetishes that you have to be serious. You can have fun, and it's fun in the act of being serious, because if you're not, you will hurt somebody. But this is fun. There's nothing like, you could be serious about it, but you can't really be that serious about it when you're sitting on a cake, or you know, it's just fun.
I beg to differ. I can be very serious while sitting on a cake.
Yes, but I mean,
yeah, especially if it's carrot cake, then that's.
I mean, if it's good
serious.
cake and I've just sat in cake and I don't get to eat that cake because now it's in my butt crack, I'm very serious.
And it better be a bun cake, because only a bun cake is going near my butt.
That's right. No, you're right. This is one of those fetishes where it's, you know, I mean, don't get me wrong. There are subsets of being like BDSM and humiliation with it. But for the most part, this is a very fun, silly fetish. Like, we're going to cover you in crazy colors and food, and we're going to get messy. And, it's, you know, a lot of times it's the most hot when it's spontaneous.
Mm-hmm.
Like a food fight breaking out. And that's just the two ways this fetish can go. Like, because I've read, you have this branch of wet and messy, and then you have the sub and dom, as always. Because you always have the sub and dom section, which is very heavy on the, I'm going to dominate you and cover you in filth, you filthy pig. Mm-hmm. And then you have the food fight that leads to messy sex in the in the kitchen floor.
And then squeal like a pig. Yes.
And then squeal like a pig. Either way, somebody's squealing like a pig, and it's going to be great.
Yeah.
So.
Have you tried it?
Yes.
You have?
Nay.
No? Do you not like to get messy, Shep?
Oh, I have no troubles with messy. It's just,
Never tried
I
it.
guess it's never came up as a desire.
You want to try it now?
Oh. I get to watch.
Yeah, but
Just
see,
because,
you
just
said you
because
don't like
I'm
to get
going to throw
sticky,
honey
though.
in there.
Oh, we can do paint.
Okay.
Yeah, there you go.
No, I
Kind of
actually.
paint, though. Let's talk about the safety of paints. So let's don't just say paint, because
That's
our
true.
adventurous listeners. Do we know the safest paints in which case to play with?
You can actually get body paint. There is specifically made body paint. A lot of times when they're using slime, it's cornstarch and water, which is a great way. Like very natural things. They're not going to poison you. You know, like I said, stay away from toxic materials. Stay away from actual lead-based paint that you find at the grocery store. But they do make body paint. You can also, again, cornstarch and water. Put some dye into it. You have very colorful slimes and stuff like that. So there's hundreds of ways. But yes, do not use Lowe's paint. Like go to a paint store and be like,
Yes,
one
please
can
don't.
of paint, please.
Yeah.
I'm going to dump it on my girlfriend.
Yeah, I just thought we should bring that point up.
You're very right. Yeah.
It's
and
like
always
you
make sure-
shouldn't. You should make sure that you're always cleaning afterwards.
Absolutely. You can
Ladies,
get-
things happen down there that you don't want to happen if you don't clean properly because sugar and that don't mix.
and gentlemen,
All
clean
right,
out your-
Rebecca. So don't forget to send me that the color list you want, and I'll go shopping.
Deal.
I like this. One day, y'all are just going to be doing it the entire podcast. It's going to be sitting there going, all right, so they're doing it, and it's okay. It's a great podcast. This is what this podcast is for. So, luckily.
No,
Doing
because
it.
we're not about
What
porn.
we normally do, talk? Yes. By talking as in it, yes.
Yes.
We will always,
Yes, we will be talking.
we will do it a lot. Mm-hmm. Yes.
Another very popular thing with this fetish is clothing. Not just skin getting messed up, but being in certain outfits getting messed up, like PVC, latex, everything from like business attire. That's very popular in both gay and straight. Men in suits and ties getting filthy really does it for some people. Women in like secretary outfits. Usually most of the images I've found are either straight up nude or they're in nice clothes.
Yeah. And so let's see if we can expand Rebecca's world now with these little alterations. Sploshing, the thing she doesn't want to do is get sticky. What if, however, you had a nice sexy PVC suit on to where you actually didn't feel the stickiness, you just had the textures and the cool or warmthness of whatever liquid it is.
Then that would be something different. It's not me being sticky.
Well, I mean,
Aha.
I guess
I
But
love
getting
opening
into
new
the
doors
latex
for
might be
people.
the
difficult.
outfit you're wearing.
we,
would be sticky.
we might take a lot longer. But
She could peel that off.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, the cleanup would be a lot easier, but absolutely, yeah, you clean it up. So
Yeah. And she could always have an assistant to help unzip the PVC back, and she can just step right out.
dibs.
I think if I wasn't sticky, okay. I just don't like being sticky. I bake. I cook a lot. It's sticky. Don't like it.
Well, just because sometimes I don't hear so well, I just want to double check because I thought I heard something correctly, but I want to make sure.
Mm-hmm.
Do you, not like to get sticky? I just want to be safe.
I feel like I'm
Nope.
a little confused on that one.
No sticky. No sticky.
No sticky. No sticky. No sticky.
No.
What about if the icky comes before the sticky?
That's a different discussion.
Yeah, we
Okay.
don't want icky.
Icky's a separate podcast.
This is an informative
Yeah.
podcast. I just want to make sure we cover all the angles,
Absolutely, and
positions.
but yeah,
and
no,
so
this is definitely a kink I've tried in my younger days.
And how was it for you?
It was sticky, and I will say I wasn't a huge fan of that. Deering was great. It was very spontaneous, very fun. But it led to like one of those things where like I don't want to do it again because immediately after I was done, I was just like, I'm sticky. I don't like it. I don't like what's happening right now. I have to wash extra tough in extra places to get unsticky, and I don't like it. And I am, I don't completely shave my entire body. If you've ever had sticky hair in very uncomfortable places, like your legs, and your hair sticks together, yeah, it's not fun. It's not a fun experience. Now, that being said, would I do it again with the right person? Absolutely. 100%. 10 times. But it would not be one of those things where I'd be like, it had to be spontaneous. It would have to be the food fight situation, the cooking. It wouldn't be like, yo, I want to dump sticky stuff on you in the bedroom. Which is how this one acted out. And of course, I was like, okay, yeah, let's do it. I'm down to try. That being said, I've never done food fight. I've never had like the spontaneous. And I would absolutely love the shit out of that.
I think if you would have continued to enjoy it, John, if yours would have ended slightly better, as in, as soon as things ended, you felt sticky, but then you had all these little numbing mouths and tongues to help get it off of you.
And yeah, no, you're very right.
See?
Mm-hmm.
I want to always give you guys the what ifs and the could have been.
You're absolutely right. It was one of those things where like we were both very young and very stupid, and it was like, and I don't mean stupid, I mean ignorant.
And not very hungry.
And not very hungry. So it was one of those things where we didn't prepare for it right when we were trying it, so it led to more mess.
You should have gone with that new gallon of milk.
Drop
That's
cloth.
probably what would have done it.
Drop cloths.
Plastic. Lay down plastic. You know how you get ants?
No,
you get ants by doing that in the wrong place. You'll never get all that syrup out from your cushions.
Yeah,
it's just not a
then
thing.
You put down plastic, and then it's like everything is a squeak.
Everything is a slip and slide. And slip and slides are fucking awesome.
Yeah, it can be fun if you use the right plastic and the right material.
Mm-hmm.
I've been all types of plastic, and the knees will still get burned a little bit.
My one bad experience wasn't enough to sour me on it, but it was definitely one of those things where I realized it wasn't necessarily my kink. Like, it was a kink that I'm willing to do, but it's not a kink that I'm like actively searching out. Mm-hmm. Shep, can I come pour beans on you? Can I give you a bean bath?
Show me that beautiful bean.
As long as I make it beans and cornbread.
Beans and
cornbread, gotta have.
Beans and cornbread, do. Was very much into that fetish. You just dump beans and cornbread on your partner, and it's on.
And of course, I cannot remember where that phrase is from.
That was a like USA movie thing, where they would show you how to make a meal, and you'd watch like one of those crappy movies, and they would come back from the commercial break and have some banter, and then go back to the movie.
Now I want chili and cornbread.
Yeah, right. I'm making that tomorrow. That's what I'm gonna do.
You're welcome, Internet. You're welcome.
Thank you.
So I think
I'm so glad to cover this finally.
Okay, so you as somebody who really wanted to hear this, do you think we adequately discussed what everything's entailed, or should I go do more research?
I think it's such a broad topic, though.
It
it's
really
one of those
is.
that's so large that to cover it in 30 minutes, like, would take. I mean, we covered the bases, I think.
We really did. And again, if you have if you want to discuss it with us, or you have more information, hit us up on Twitter or Instagram at DinksWithKinks. Let us know. Tell us. That's how we communicate with our audience. We want to know what you think of these fetishes, what you think of these kinks. Or if you're like, hey, you got that all wrong, let me correct you. We'll correct ourselves. Yeah. I like I like being wrong because it means I get to learn something new.
Yeah. Just like the beans and cornbread was from the TV show Dinner and a Movie.
Dinner and a movie. Told you it was on USA. That's where I watched it late at night.
Mm-hmm.
And then they had another one that went after that, and it had Sandra Bernhard on it, and I had such a crush on her. I really did. Oh, you want to talk about
all the
some late
rabbit
night
holes.
adolescence bodies
Everyone,
exploring
all
as
the rabbit
teenagers?
holes.
Oh my.
Oh yeah.
It's not a Dinks with Kinks podcast if one of us is not saying oh my.
Oh my. So you know what it is. This is the first spin of the wheel in 2021. You guys ready?
Always ready.
Oh, here we go. We're spinning that wheel. We're going to find out what we're talking about next week.
No, let's
I'm
don't go
excited.
ahead.
Now we're doing it. We're leaning into it.
Okay.
We are, in fact, talking about hair.
Oh, are we?
We are. We're going to cover the hair fetish, the hair kink.
Enemy of
That's-
Nair.
The enemy of Nair. You're right, Shep. Oh, this is going to be a great one. I'm a hairy fellow. I know a lot about hair. So yeah, we're going to be talking about, I think this is going to be another broad one because I think we should cover both the actual hair fetish.
Of how you're a smelly feller? A feller smeller? A hairy meller? What?
What? I'm a hairy fellow.
What?
But no, I think we're going to cover everything from like facial hair, like being attracted to facial hair, being attracted to a woman's hair, preferences on genital keeping, like from bush to no bush, stuff like that.
Yep.
So yeah,
Sorry, I
think
got totally tongue-tied there watching Rebecca move her mouth the way she was just doing a minute ago.
she was eating a cookie and we were into it.
Right.
Now take
I
that
know.
cookie and
I
mush
mean,
it and crumble it all over you, then pour some milk, and we
Did
have
you
our
notice
episode ending.
she went straight for his head? Did you notice that?
No, it's a star.
Uh-huh. It is now. No.
No, it,
I'm gonna make you a star. All right, so happy New Year, everybody. We're in it. We're doing
Happy
it.
New Year.
New Year of
Well,
kinkery.
eating a star.
As always, you guys remember to kink responsibly. Consent is king. I'm your host, John Adero. Saying goodnight with Miss Rebecca
Good night.
and Mr. Shep.
Good evening.